Hello everybody and welcome to NBL Overtime, and what a 24 hours it has been. We'll get to Josh Boone. He's now an Illawarra Hawk, obviously Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, about to take the court first in China. We'll get to that, as well as the Boomers squad announced and our team, our 12, as we head towards the World Cup. And what a 24 hours it has been. Carmelo Anthony, LaMelo Ball, who knows what the hell's going on, but Twitter, NBL Twitter is a buzz. You can get involved anytime you like, hashtag NBL Overtime. And a man who missed it all because he was on the way back from Bali is this man. Hello.
How you doing?
Well, just quickly before I get to Lamb Santa Maria, and NBL Twitter went nuts last night, and you were on a plane on the way back. What did you think when you see your phone blowing up when you get back to Melbourne?
I was just literally like, what the hell is going on? What did I miss? Carmelo Anthony coming here, Ball brothers going to New Zealand. I didn't know what was going on. So I'm just as excited as everyone else, the viewers, to see what is going on.
Well, that's the thing. We still don't know. Lamb Santa Maria, hello to you.
Hello. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, to be in the middle of the off-season, we're a couple of days away from the NBA finals starting, mid-AFL season, and Twitter was abuzz with NBL talk. It was great.
For one reason. You liked a tweet. And all hell broke loose.
No.
That's not how you...
No, that's not how it played
playing out.
Well, Matt Walsh
made
comments a few days ago to Mark Hinton over there at Stuff in New Zealand and said, we have a global announcement coming in from there. All the rumours started. It is.
So what tweet did you actually like?
I like
to set Twitter.
I like the garbage tweet that said something about Carmelo Anthony coming. And it had you and Hammer tagged into it. And I thought, I liked it because it was funny and ludicrous and ridiculous. And really, I don't think that had much of an impact. But people jumped on board Carmelo and LaMelo, and it was crazy.
All right, so speculation. Do you think there'll be a Melo, Car or Le, here next year for the Breakers?
There'll be one in Melbourne.
What?
Row.
In the NBL?
Row Melo.
Oh, okay.
Melo. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, what did I miss?
Not in New Zealand, no.
Okay, what are you thinking it is?
You know, I don't know. You know, with what's going on right now in New Zealand, it didn't finish up the way they wanted to. You know, things are not looking really good down there as far as the camp is concerned. So they have to come back and bounce back big. Matt Walsh is a very connected guy. He's had an exceptional career. So you have to expect the unexpected right now. I'm pretty sure if he's hyping it this way, it's going to shake up the NBL.
It is going to shake up the NBL, whatever it is. And even if it's not as big as it's being played out to do, and the good thing about, I think, the last 24 hours is we are in the middle of an off-season. As you touched on, the NBA final is only a couple of days away, and we are losing our mind on a Monday night about the NBL, and it's no idea what it's going to be, and everyone speculates, and the Carmelo Anthony thing was probably a little bit overblown, and everyone got caught up, in particular neutral basketball fans who would know Carmelo from a wonderful NBA career, but it just as really points to the signs as where the NBL is. Because 3 years ago, had someone have tweeted that, they would have been laughed at, maybe even 2 years ago, and said, come on, don't it? And not to, I don't think anyone's knowledge last night, or at least their belief, that it was actually going to be a happening thing, but there's that, you know what? The league is kind of in a realm where it could possibly have been a possibility, and I think that speaks volume to where the league is right now.
And I think that the announcement and what takes place in New Zealand is going to speak even larger volumes over what's happening with the league right now, because it's going to be big and it's going to be really exciting, and I can't wait for it.
Something we do know that's happening, and it happened in the middle of last week, is that Josh Boone, NBL Championship winning centre, of course, at Melbourne United, all NBL first team a couple of years ago. We were playing at the Illawarra Hawks in 2019-20. As we head towards the off-season and Illawarra continue to put their pieces together, it's a nice pick-up for Illawarra.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I think he's still got some left in the tank, and I think it's a good fit for him in Illawarra. He's a pretty superstitious guy, Josh Boone, and having played pretty well in Wollongong over the journey, that sort of fits well with him. And I mean, there were other teams that were having conversations with him. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix certainly were chatting in depth with him. We talked last week about the state of play with them and how that would have needed to be a conditional contract based on the Mitch Creek situation. That doesn't work for Josh Boone. Needs to sign something and lock something in, and Illawarra swooped in and got it done. And amongst I like what they've been building in Illawarra this off-season, and amongst all that young talent, guys like Sam Froling especially, to have a veteran presence like Josh Boone come in, I think is great.
Well, just on that, let's have a look at the roster they've currently put together, because not that they've forgotten, but they have been probably, South East Melbourne Phoenix coming in, Sydney Kings, Perth as a champion. Sometimes they can get just pushed aside. And Conrad, Blanchfield, who, of course, we'll talk a little bit later on in the Boomer squad, Ogilvy there, Boone now, Greta, who had a pretty good rookie year last year. Of course, Emmett Nah likewise, Glover. And then you got Sunday Deck, who they picked up from Perth, who'll play some minutes, and Sam Froling, who's having a really good year in the NBL 1 for Dandenong. So they're putting together a nice little roster with a couple of imports still to come as well.
Look, we're not going to do this right now.
Aren't we?
They're not making finals. Great pickup.
Yes.
I'm loving, when I tell you I'm loving Tim Conrad, I'm sure you're loving him as well. We're loving him.
He's going to have a big season.
For sure. This will carry over what's going on with the 3x3. But great for Josh Boone. Veteran leadership for sure will help the young fellas tremendously, but they're still not making finals.
No chance. Okay. What do I do with the imports then? Of course, last year we've seen Jordan Jett, Cedric Jackson, and of course Conklin, who I thought had a pretty decent year as well. So you look at that, do you bring back Conklin and sit him with Boone, Ogilvy's there as well? How do you reckon they approach their import spots, the other two?
Well, they're going to get an import point guard. I think we know that because they made an offer to Melo Trimble. So they were clearly trying to get into that market, which is an interesting one because there was some suggestion, it's year 2 for Emmett Nah. He showed a bit last season. Are you going to hand him the keys? I don't think that's going to happen quite yet.
Would you have Emmett Nah start and
I'm
go?
not handing him the keys
yet. Okay.
He needs leadership under a veteran and experience and a really good point guard.
Yeah, and so then I wouldn't be surprised if they only go with 2 imports. And they spend big on getting a legit point guard like they were trying to get with Trimble. And you've got a legit point guard, you've got a championship-winning centre who was all NBL first team only 2 years ago. And then you've got guys like Blanchfield, Conrad, Greta, Sam Froling, those kind of guys to play out the rest of the roster. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they try to bring Dave Anderson back as another veteran presence in that front line.
That would be big. Bring back Jerome Randall. Jerome Randall's a stud in this league.
Oh, no disagree there.
Without a doubt. He was injured at the end of the year. But we all know, ever since he's touched the shores of Australia, what he brings to any team.
Did you just find an excuse for the Sydney Kings?
What do you mean?
Oh, well, you said Jerome Randall was injured at the end of the year.
No, he was.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
He was
injured.
Yeah, he was. Interesting.
No.
You've been so against the Kings.
Do you know, it's fun. It's kind of fun. Imagine if Jerome Randall was in Wollongong playing for Illawarra and Kevin White was in Adelaide, which we know he is.
Yep.
That works out quite nicely.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. You would never have thought it.
Just quickly, while Illawarra, and yet again, this is no disrespect to Illawarra and the Cairns of the world, but sometimes a lot of people in the media get caught up in the higher profile cities and teams and the Kings, Phoenix, coming in, and obviously Melbourne United, even Adelaide, Perth. So Illawarra doing what they've done, they put together almost, not quietly, but we've been keeping an eye on it, and they put together a nice little lineup as we just seen.
Great job.
Where are Cairns? Because we continue to sit around waiting for something to be announced. The only real off-season news is they lost Melo Trimble and they're not bringing back Lucas Walker. Really, Nate Jai, why we continue to sit around? What are you hearing?
I'm hearing some frustration. I'm hearing some frustration from some agents and some people around that offering them up talent and maybe it taking a bit too long to turn around, things like that. And I would have thought by now they would have signed Venky Joyce. I flagged that about 3 weeks ago. I said, that's the guy to go after. You went and got Majuk Deng. Cool, that works. Okay, he plays a similar position, but let's amass some talent like that, some young talent that's maybe being undervalued around the rest of the league. That hasn't happened so far, and it's all quiet on the Northern Front.
I think something big is going to happen in Cairns. Something that's going to come out of the left field that we are not expecting. I believe that. I think. I'm not going to say I believe. I said I think. Something's brewing. I'm just going to leave it like that.
Are you still getting DMs and the like from players? And
Yeah, I've gotten a DM last week.
From who?
Can't say right now.
Regarding which NBL club?
Can't say.
Okay.
Can't make it too hot.
Interesting. Hey, no correlation. Well, let's talk about the Adelaide 36ers because there's been an interesting, last 72 hours. Jacob Wiley, and we might start with Jacob Wiley, had a great year last year in Europe. Player of the week last week as well, and it looks like he's not going to be coming back.
Well, that's the word. We flagged it again. We flagged that maybe a month or so ago, and we've been kind of following his play. He's been playing really well and getting interest from, not only Gran Canaria looking to bring him back, but other EuroLeague teams with big money. And his situation with Adelaide's a bit of a buyout. Let's roll the graphic up that shows the Joey Wright quote. I'm not confident that he'll be here. That's him in the Adelaide Advertiser, I think, yesterday. So.
Normally when a coach in any sport is still a little bit wary about where it's going, they don't just lay it out. And normally they can talk about how well he's playing and hopefully he's back. But when you say, I'm not confident, that normally says he's not coming back.
Look, Jacob Wiley came here, had a solid season, good enough to get re-signed by the 36ers. Unfortunately for Adelaide, actually, I don't even know if it's really unfortunate because they're going to get some cash for him.
Well, they are this time.
He's going to...
They are this time.
He went to the ACB and has done extremely well. Doing it in the ACB, which is one of the top leagues in the world, and doing it in EuroLeague as well. He's an excitement machine. So, I wish him the best. Go do what you got to do, and maybe we'll see you again. However,
Here we go. I knew the player representative would have someone in mind.
I'm not a player representative. But I hear things, and there's a name that we don't know. But are you ready for this name?
Yep.
Lavoy Allen. Played in the NBA 8 years.
Philly
and Indiana. Went to University of Temple, got some game. Power forward, could shoot the three, play inside and outside. Can run the floor and is a baller. I would not be surprised if he ends up on the shores of Australia in the NBL.
Is he a friend of Ramon Moore's? Temple
University. He could, listen.
That's a yes.
All I'm saying is this.
Do you follow him on Instagram?
Look, I don't know the guy personally. I just know the name.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, remember that name. He may come up again.
I'm going to chime in and say a couple of weeks ago I said that I have seen a couple of the names that could be on a potential backup list for them if no Jacob Wiley. That Lavoy Allen name has been bouncing around.
Listen, I'm telling you.
No, I'm listening.
Yeah.
I don't know too much.
As well as others.
And he could end up maybe not in Adelaide, but he could end up in this league.
Now, your thoughts on this, or your source? Does your source on this have an office with some signage? Or anything?
Oh my God! Listen.
That Perth Wildcats thing's never come back.
Perth right now. I mean, that source of this dry up there.
But I mean, they're going to get with the extra money coming in from the buyout and Joey Wright's connections and the fact that the situation they're in, they're going to go out and get a legit front line. Baller. And you put him there next to Daniel Johnson. We wait to find out what goes on with Harry Froling. And the guys that they've put together. This fun, exciting youngster they've signed in Madronya, who I think could legitimately play some minutes at some point this season. They're going to be fun again, and they're going to be very, very competitive.
Just on that contract, development player year one, and then upgraded for the next 2 years to the full roster.
Yep.
And from the University of St Mary's.
Yeah, 1 year. And he trained with Adelaide previously. Spent some time at the Centre of Excellence. Trained with Adelaide. Really impressed Joey Wright and the coaching staff there. But they let him go off to college with their blessing and said, go and explore and see what you. But as Joey does, stayed in contact. The kid, it didn't really work out for him. He wasn't enjoying it. Come back and Joey pounced. And as he does, locked him up for a long term.
Amongst all of this, we have the excitement of a new franchise as well. South East Melbourne Phoenix aren't too far away as they continue to work their way through their off-season. And we're going to see them, well, they are currently in China. Got the first game Wednesday night as they are at the airport, 6 a.m. Who went down there? I was just going to say, did Guy from the NBL go down there to film this? It's from South East Melbourne Phoenix's own Instagram. Yeah. Fair enough. None of the crew from out the back of NBL Overtime went down. But they're going over there, and while it's probably not anywhere near the squad that we're going to see come round one or game one of the NBL, it's always good to see the Phoenix colours officially in action over the next 48 hours.
Yeah, for sure.
Interest?
There's Dan Triss. Kyle Adams going to be there. Adam Gibson's going to play an important leadership role without some of the other older players. Dane Pinot.
Who's been in ripping NBL 1 form.
Ripping NBL 1 form. There's James Hunter, former New
Yes.
Zealand Breakers big man. They've got Liam Thomas, the former Sydney Kings development player. Jack Purchase, who could be potentially in line for a development player spot. Now, the guy I'm really excited to sort of see a bit more of in the Phoenix colours is Kendall Stevens, the Aussie-born sharpshooter out of Nevada and son of Everett Stevens. So they're not those games. It's kind of a good situation for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. They can go over. Simon Mitchell can play his first couple. He coach his first couple of games away from the microscope and the analysis of all of us, and they can kind of just throw the guys out there, get those nerves out for the whole organisation. Tommy and Simon and everyone involved, the assistant coaches, and then they can come back and really get stuck into things.
That's a good look. What you just said about Simon Mitchell and all the coaches. Not necessarily all about the players, and there will be players who are playing, of course, who will be a part of that team and already signed on, a few of them. But yeah, Simon Mitchell patrolling the sidelines. It would have been, well, he probably hasn't coached. He coached last year in the SABL, coached Frankston Women, and then, of course, the NBL with Melbourne United as assistant coach. But get up and down, in control again, get the juices flowing again. I think it's a good place to do it. What are you hearing? Anything about Southeast Melbourne Phoenix you want to drop in on us?
Well, just right now, I wish them the best. This is a great time for them, exactly what you say, to be apart, be away from everybody, and just start building the culture right now in Asia. So, these guys are experienced. A lot of them played in this league already. They know each other. Some played against each other. Some played with each other. So, it's just all about right now just having a good time and working hard and just, getting to know each other off the court personally, to be honest with you.
All right, last week the announcement, Chris Goulding and Joe Ingles.
Here's the food.
Sorry,
the food
guys.
in China.
Probably breakfast.
Dan Triss has brought over his
He's going to go to the
John
Boomers.
West.
That's right.
Oh, so hang on. They've gone all the way over to China and he's eating John West tuna.
I don't blame him.
I'm not mad at him.
I'm not mad
that
at
was
him.
breakfast on the table. Whatever you don't eat at night is going to show up the next morning for breakfast.
You got to be careful.
Got to be careful. Good on you, Triss.
All right. Last week, the Boomers, led by Joe Ingles and Chris Goulding, it was announced the 18-man squad. They fronted the media. There's a lot of excitement around it. Of course, NBA players we've spoken so much about. Nice blend of NBL players. A few Europeans thrown in as well. So what we did, the three of us have given our final 12 for the world.
Hold on, before they bring that up. There it is. It's up.
Thank you.
Hang on.
Wow.
Hang on. What do you want to go with?
Now let's go through it.
All right. What do we got?
Let's go through.
It's very busy. It's hard to tell.
So you and I, Liam, have got the exact same squad.
Do we?
Yeah. So we've
Okay.
got the exact same squad, and it seems like Glidden and Sobey is in for Homicide without Goulding and
Who
someone
else
else
is missing?
Who have you missed
Landale. He's missing. He's
You've
not
left
as
Landale out,
All
okay.
right. Oh, well, Homicide. Let's
Okay,
hear
well,
about it.
Homicide, you go
No,
first.
you've got Glidden instead of Goulding, and you've got an extra guard. You've got Sobey.
Instead of Landale.
Well, maybe it's Sobey instead of Goulding, but you've got an extra
either
guard, no Jock Landale.
No Landale. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to show you
You're
exactly
sleeping on
what I was
Landale.
doing.
You going to show me something?
You sleeping on
Yeah.
Landale a little?
I'm going to tell you why I did that.
Are you
I'm
going to
going
show?
into my notes.
Are you going to show the camera the phone as well? Or just going to show?
Yeah, show the
I'm
camera.
going to show
zoom
you
in.
my notes.
Okay.
All right. So at my 5 position,
Here we go.
I went with 2 centers, Bogut and Baines. At my 4 position, Jonah and Moda. At my 3, you go Slow Joe Mo, Dang, and Mitch.
Yep.
Creek.
Yeah.
At my 2, I went Glidden and Mills. You can throw Simmons sometimes. Simmons could play any position, damn near, basically. So, the way I look at it is this. Who plays with Brisbane? And that's on this team.
There it is. You have been pushing this for a while.
Who plays with Brisbane?
Both those
All
guys.
right, then. So guess what? I'm going to get my peoples ready before
Okay.
anybody else.
What do you think, Liam? We've got the same team. What was your thoughts? And I think
Yeah.
the questioning will be around the NBL-based players. Goulding, Glidden, Sobey, Blanchfield's in the squad as well. Kay's in the squad.
Yeah.
Of course, Mitch Creek officially an NBL player at the moment, but we'll see where that falls out in the next couple of months. Why Goulding for you over, say, a Glidden or a Sobey?
His experience in Rio, his kind of chemistry within the group. Glidden and Sobey have been great with the Boomers over the qualifying period, the Asia Cup and whatnot. But Goulding has chemistry and a relationship with these guys. Ingles, Mills, Daly, Bogut, these kind of players. And they will have confidence in him, and he will have confidence in himself from his experience in Rio. He came out and played really well. He had one game out there where he lit it up against one of the lesser opponents. So this team, this is the thing I was going to flag before. It's a huge out not having Ryan Broekhoff.
I agree.
It's a big out. And, I mean, obviously, Thon Maker and Dante, that's a bummer as well. But for me, Broekhoff is the big one. And so you've got to make sure you've got some knockdown shooters. And Goulding and Sobey both are that. But on that stage, in that situation, I just feel like I trust Chris a little bit more.
And that's why I had Goulding in as well. I think if Broekhoff's in the squad, I don't think we're even discussing... Well, obviously they're going to push their chances, but I think the odds are probably slanted towards Broekhoff and then Goulding and Sobey missing the team altogether.
Yeah.
But a like for like a little bit. Now, obviously Broekhoff is a little bit different, and we'll see where he goes now as well. Only a one-year deal at Dallas, so he's still in the NBA right on the cusp and hopefully gets back in there. But that's why I went with Goulding. A like for like internationally as well, a spot-up shooter, which is going to work for Ben Simmons. And as you said, he can play almost any position he wants, but he likes it when Philadelphia are rolling, they're running, and he's kicking out. I'm not saying that Goulding's a Redick or a Tobias Harris, but it's a similar style where he catches and shoots, probably a little bit better than Glidden and Sobey in that team.
I reckon the thing that's most impressive and one of their biggest strengths about this team, however it's put together, is going to be their versatility.
Yep.
And I think that they're not going to really necessarily need to have guys in a really a positional based. They're going to be positionless, for the most
which
part.
is what the NBA is almost exactly how you can view this
and that's
squad.
what Ben Simmons is comfortable playing within. So I didn't really necessarily go, okay, point guard, what have we got, in the point spot, the two and so on forth. I went, okay, what about ball handlers? So for ball handlers, I got Simmons, Delly, and Mills. Wings, Goulding, Creek, Ingles, Adele, and then I went with an extra big. So Bogut, Baines, Modem, and Bolden, and I went with Landale, who has just played really well with Partizan and has just signed with Zalgiris in the EuroLeague. And I think when people put together, the fans put together their teams, I think two guys that maybe they might sleep on are Deng Adele and Jock Landale.
Yep.
And watching them at Summer League last year, I mean, Deng Adele playing for Houston and Landale playing for Atlanta. Landale started basically every game, and Adele didn't play much in his first few, and then played a bunch of minutes and put up big numbers. And they both looked like they really belonged at that level. Whereas there are some other guys that I can't picture performing at that level against that sort of talent. Now, Summer League fits some people and their games more than others. But, I just watching them up close last year, I feel like they've got to be in this team. I
went with Landale because I think traditionally basketball teams around the world in this situation, internationally as well, go with the extra big. And it's almost how they, like, the international game, bump and grind, 40 minutes, can get physical at times. There's obviously, some foul trouble that gets attached to it, and we see Andrew Bogut got in a little bit of foul trouble in the Spanish game in Rio. Now, not saying Landale just step straight in and whatever, but I think that's traditionally how clubs go, so I think that's all they've got.
We haven't always done that, though.
No, I know.
The last guy in our roster has usually been a shooter. It's been like a Peter Crawford or a Catalini, or last year was like Lish and Goulding were maybe the last couple of guys on the roster. But I think, I agree with you, you can... If one of those ball handlers goes down, everyone can shift down and handle the ball a little bit more. But if Bogut or Baines goes down at the start of the tournament, and you come up against Nikola Jokic, you've got your Bogut or Baines out there, you need another. And Landale's 6'11", legit size, is ready to bang and grind down.
We actually did see when Ricky Rubio missed some games for Utah, we've seen Joe Ingles carry the ball for the Jazz every now and then. Now, I'm not suggesting he'll be a great deal of minutes at the point guard, but that's the way they can interject. Just on that, obviously the USA game is the one that is probably dominating so much of the headlines, or the two of them at Marvel Stadium, but the Canada games at RAC Arena, Nick Nurse officially confirmed as the head coach of Canada basketball, of course, with the Toronto Raptors. So I'm just throwing it out there. I'm expecting, because Drake, now I don't know how many businesses Drake has, but one of them just signed on as one of the major sponsors of the Canadian basketball team as well, was it?
OVO.
OVO, there you go. Yeah, so there you go. So I'm assuming...
Drake is definitely involved heavily.
Drake will be sidelined at RAC Arena, so get your tickets.
Lucky Reed, courtside.
Sure.
Okay.
Talking internationally...
I just want to flag Nathan Sobey for me, and you've got him in the team. He's right on the bubble. And it's, Goulding and Deng Adele, he's right there. And I could see Lamanis going that way.
At what point?
It wouldn't stun me.
At what point do you go with somebody new versus another guy that's been there already? Like, when do you give the next guy that opportunity? And that's not easy to do. Chris Goulding's been there, done that. We know what he can do, proven. But when do you give another guy that opportunity who, at some point, Chris needed that opportunity?
Right, so Lamanis has shown a willingness to do that. So in Rio, he did that with Chris over Brad Newley.
Right. At
He
some
said-
point,
he
that's
said
just
Brad-
how the game
yeah.
goes. At
I
some
agree.
point, somebody has to get, and not even just say it's not like between Chris or
No,
Nathan but whoever. When do you do it?
And also, the fact is as well, you've got to have not a long-term view, but Tokyo's got to be front of mind as well when putting together this squad and working towards, obviously, no ever medal at a senior men's competition. So the World Cup is so important for so many reasons. But it also, and your point plays to this, you got Tokyo less than a year later, knowing that if someone comes in and gets that opportunity that, say, a Goulding had, and then all of a sudden plays some minutes, comes in off the bench, has a good game. I think it was against Venezuela, I think, where Chris Goulding played well in Rio.
Right.
All of a sudden, if that's Sobey against someone, now they've got a pretty tough group, but that's how it plays out. All of a sudden, that gives him the confidence that in Olympics in 12 months' time, they can stand up and do the job. So, look, your point is very well made.
Yeah, and you know what else? What is cool is that we have said years in time past, it looks like we're going to get to a point with our Boomers team, with our depth of NBA talent, that there will be someone who has been playing in the NBA
No doubt.
who's going to miss out. And it's happening. I mean, Isaac Humphries played in the NBA last season. He's not in the squad. He's not going to be on the team. It might end up happening with Deng Adel. Like, we're legitimately at that point right now.
Well, they essentially took Landale over Humphries, didn't they? Really, when they look at it, because they went with the guys in Europe rather than a guy who's been, of course, in the NBA and doing his thing.
Right.
And just remarkable, because that's what the countries who traditionally win medals have had to do for years. So it's something, there's a correlation between having successful tournaments and leaving guys who are playing in the best league in the world on the sideline. All right, talking international basketball, I've got a guy blowing up my phone telling us to move on. So we'll get to Asia Cup gold. Both men's and women's. Beck Cole on the NBL One show with us last week said, I am not coming home without a gold medal. And neither did. And then they are celebrating. We'll start with the women who won a bronze 12 months ago and this year went back and got that gold that she wanted.
I mean, it's just beautiful to see this thing. I think we were lucky to have these two teams, these players at the 3x3 Pro Hustle.
Yeah.
So we got to see it every other weekend and each Pro Tour stop. So we knew the talent of these teams and how they play, the way they approach the game. So to be honest with you, it's great to see, but I'm not surprised.
No way. No. Although, did you? Hope you watched a bit of this and saw Matty Garrick.
Mongolia. I'll be there next week.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I didn't see her,
you're a
but
little.
I heard she's a gun.
She's a gun, and
Yeah,
you were snoozing on her a little.
I was.
But I mean, I don't want to. This is great, and they got the job
awesome.
done.
That is awesome.
But they should have got the job done.
Oh, no, don't tell me you're going to pull that strength of schedule
I'm
of the
just
Asia
saying,
Cup.
we beat Kazakhstan and Mongolia in the final.
Oh.
They got the job done, is what they did. They got the job done. That Mongolia.
Strength of schedule and international competition.
Well, they ran the. Hold on. When the Australian Boomers go and play in the Asia Cup, should they win that thing?
Yeah, and they do.
They should win it.
So when
our
do
3x3 teams go to the Asia Cup, they should win it.
Yeah,
and
they
we won
should.
it. The men won it last time.
Yeah.
And the women should have won it.
Probably.
Also, they lost last year.
They lost
got the
in the
bronze last year.
semi-final to New Zealand. And Beck Cole was bitterly disappointed, and she said, "Look, we felt like we should," and they should have. They should have won it.
Right.
And they've come back. They got redemption, revenge, all those sorts of things. But you know what? We're at, and our teams are at the level now. Let's be honest. We should go in and get that job done. Now let's get ready for the real deal, which is the 3x3 World Cup.
Got you.
So I never thought we'd sit here and talk about strength of schedule when it comes to the Asia Cup. But
How awesome
welcome.
is that, though?
Hey,
That's true.
Come on.
No, fair enough.
Am I wrong?
You got your standards high, and
tell me I'm wrong.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Okay.
I'm just saying I don't know. We should have to pick through who they're beating.
Well,
you can only beat who you play, isn't that right?
And that Mongolian team is pretty nice.
Oh, don't soften them up now.
But you know,
No, we geo-block, mate. The show doesn't go to Mongolia. You're right.
if we want to make some legit noise at the World Cup in Amsterdam,
That's what
we should be taking care of business at the Asia Cup.
Do you think that either of these teams will medal at the World Cup? I'll actually ask you another question then.
Oh, jeez.
Does that count? If the men get a medal at the 3x3 World Cup, Does that count as our first medal in senior men's basketball competition?
Well, definitely.
Hold
Why
on.
wouldn't it?
No, it doesn't.
Does it count it with any other country?
It's a
winning
different
medal?
sport.
So
It's a
it
different
doesn't
sport.
count?
Is beach volleyball the same as volleyball?
No, for a few reasons.
So if you've got records in volleyball, what you do in beach volleyball doesn't matter to that.
They're totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So if 3x3, if they medal in World Cup,
so obviously we
doesn't
sit here.
matter?
It's our first 3x3 medal
Yeah,
at
it
that
is. So we
level.
talk
Yeah,
about
first
the fact that the
medal.
men have never medalled. And I'm just wondering, I don't think it should go. And
No.
sometimes we do claim things that we can't get something done. But yeah.
Come on. No.
Okay.
So if it was 5-on-5 and they got a medal, you claim that?
Of course.
So why we don't claim 3-on-3?
Well, we would. No, what he's saying is that the men,
The men.
the Boomers, the men's
take the medal.
5-on-5 team have never won a medal at a major international tournament
Got you.
like the World Cup or the Olympics.
Right.
And he's saying if we go to the World Cup in
Are
3x3
we
in
claiming
Amsterdam and we win a medal, do we say that that's been done now?
Why wouldn't you?
Because it's a different sport.
I don't think we would claim it either because of the technicalities around it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't call it a different sport per se, but I do like your volleyball. You're obviously a big... You an indoor volleyball guy or a beach,
Beach.
volleyball guy? Yeah, beach
Yeah.
for me as well.
So if... Beach, I wonder why. If...
Oh, you like the indoor variety, do you?
So if Olympics come
Yes.
and Australia men's, women's, whichever one, win a medal for 3x3, would you claim it?
Like, would we take it home and
No.
be happy we won it?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. So why not? I don't understand why not.
It just doesn't mean we have won a medal
Yeah, right.
at
I'll
a
tell you
major
what.
international tournament in 5-on-5 basketball.
That was just a throwaway question, just to
Yeah.
piss Guy off the back because you want us to wrap up. And then we're here 8 minutes later. We're done.
All right, cool,
Anything
cool.
else?
Moving on, moving on.
Obviously, New Zealand announcement in a couple of days.
Big ups to our
Huge.
Asia Cup gold medal
Yeah.
winning teams. Just
Yeah.
big ups. Big
You got
time.
anything?
CoreyWilliams.net.
How's it going?
It's going really, really
Yeah,
well.
really well.
Some amazing things are going on. So CoreyWilliams.net. Be creative. Nothing but love.
There you go. NBL Overtime, we're done. We'll see you this time next week. # NBL20 to get involved. See ya.